प्रभु तव मूर्ति विनोदकारी पलपन विसरे नहीं जो विसारी जुगल चरण सोल चिन्ह जेह नजर समीपे रहो हमारी एह नजर समीपे रहो हमारी एह। સ્વામિનારાયણ ભગવાનની જય, ઠાકોરજી મહારાજની જય, હરિકૃષ્ણ મહારાજની જય, ઘનશ્યામ મહારાજની જય, 500 પરમહંસની જય, સદગુરુદેવની જય। સદગુરુ શ્રી મુક્તાનંદ સ્વામી સેવિત સર્વોપરી શ્રી ઠાકોરજી મહારાજ, the one that has been considered in the Shastras and by Shriji Maharaj to be a Sarvopari Sant, Adi Gurudev Mahamuni Shri Muktanand Swami, our divine Guru Parampara, the pathmaker to our liberation that has been watching after our Kalyan night and day, our Puji Guruji, Puji Santo, and all of you Loyadham Parivar Bhaktos, Jai Swaminarayan. In the beginning of this Mangalacharan, I mentioned Sarvopari Sant Shri Muktanand Swami. He is our Adi Gurudev. He is also considered to be the mother of Satsang, or Satsang Mi Ma. But what makes him different from all the other Santos? Why is he remembered by Maharaj more so than others? Why is Muktanand Swami kept with Maharaj during his time here on this earth the most, more than any other? What is the reason why Muktanand Swami's life, character, divine attributes, why do they differ from others? What makes him extraordinary? Well, there is this one element that he is known by in Satsang, and through that one title, we will be able to understand how compassionate of a mother we have received in Loyadham Parivar. As you can see here, Satsang Ni Ma, mother of Satsang, Sarvopari Shri Muktanand Swami. Muktanand Swami's life revolves around sadhuta or saintliness. Muktanand Swami's life revolves around compassion. Muktanand Swami's life revolves around Guru Bhakti. Muktanand Swami's life revolves around humility. Muktanand Swami's life revolves around Mahima. But all these attributes are a very, very divine gift from Bhagwan, nonetheless are great, great ornaments that a sadhu should have. But even one step deeper, his mother-like nature that completely changed the hearts of sadhus or even non-believers was something that no one possessed. And today we want to learn about Muktanand Swami and how he became Satsang Ni Ma. How did he get the title of Satsang Ni Ma? How did he get this title from Shriji Maharaj's voice? Not anyone others. No other Santo, no other Bhaktos, or no one has given this title to Muktanand Swami but Maharaj himself. But we want to learn Muktanand Swami's life, what makes him divine, what makes him different from all the other Santos. So in order to do that, we first have to look at certain Santos and how great they are, and from there we'll be able to understand Muktanand Swami as well. So moving on to the next slide. Maharaj had an elite team. And Bhagwan Swaminarayan, when he came on this earth 237 years ago, from his divine abode Akshardham, he brought with him 500 Nan Santo. Nan Santo meaning Santos that's name end with Nand, meaning Gopalanand, Premanand, Nityanand, Nishkudanand, etc., so on and so forth. And these sadhus are Anadi Muktos of Akshardham. Anadi Muktos meaning they were liberated souls before, they are, and there will always be liberated souls. Their permanent home is Akshardham. And Bhagwan brought them with him from Akshardham. That's why here you can see the title Maharaj's elite team. But his elite team was not only one-sided, but Maharaj had each and every sant for each and every field and category. Each and every sant for each and every field and category. And through these santos, Maharaj spread the Swaminarayan religion and established his upasana, which was one of the reasons out of the 6 that he came on this earth. Santos were scholars. Santos were poets. Santos were yogis and authors and artists. Santos were also sculptors, builders, crafters, cooks. So many various categories, and from their divine attributes and skills, their names were based off of them, and also people knew them. Haribhaktos and others knew them from that very feature. Sadguru Shri Gopalan Swami is known as Yogi Raj, meaning the king of yoga. The one that has mastered yoga, Ashtang Yoga, which is the hardest of yoga, he has mastered. Gopalan Swami his specialty was that. His title was known as that. Brahmanand Swami was known as Kaviraj. Kaviraj meaning he was a poet. He can develop kirtans, sing hymns. How so? If he sang one line, while the Haribhaktos would sing behind him as a chorus, he would develop the second line while he has that 10-second time gap. That's how great of a Kavi he was. That's why his title was Kaviraj. Premanand Swami was the idol of affection. Bhagwan has given him that attribute as highlighted. This doesn't mean that these santos did not have all the other attributes. These santos were the highest of the highest. They had everything, but Bhagwan Swaminarayan wanted to specially highlight each of certain qualities of that sadhu. Due to that, Maharaj would name, and nonetheless Haribhaktos would know these Nansantos by these various kinds of names. So Maharaj had a very elite team. Maharaj's team was not anything that was simple or ordinary. Maharaj's team was extraordinary, and due to that, right now we're sitting here in nice facilities due to them, due to their hard effort, due to them spreading Swaminarayan Satsang, making it easy for us, writing scriptures and writing kirtans and doing so much hard work at that time that we were able to sit and easily read books on tablets and iPads and easily sing kirtans and have all this equipment to do so. Yet the funny and astonishing part is the level of affection, the level of bhakti, the level of understanding that they possessed without any kind of technology was not comparable to anything, and we have everything, yet we cannot even reach 1% of what kind of bhakti they performed at that time. Imagine how they were, imagine their persona, imagine their divinity. So Maharaj's team was not ordinary. That's what I want to prove right now. And due to their specialty or mastery, as you know, in cooking, certain people have certain masteries in cooking certain items. In other sports, you can say a person is master in doing this certain task. Everyone has some kind of specialty. In the same way, Maharaj's team of sadhus also had some specialties. And due to these specialties, they were able to spread satsang very, very fast and also efficiently. That was something that was very important and a key element in that time, 237 years ago, where technology and everything else was very, very limited. But as we understand Maharaj's team, we're not going to end our journey there. We want to understand one step beyond, which is Muktanand Swami, our Adi Gurudev Mahamuni, the one that is, when we should be proud of, he is the starter, the head of our Guru Parampara. And Muktanand Swami was and always be one of a kind. Not only in the eyes of Sarvopari Bhagwan Sri Swaminarayan, but in the eyes of Akshardham and the Muktos, and in the eyes of everyone. Muktanand Swami stands out and will always stand out. For example, just like how if you were looking at the sky when there's a full moon, and you're not in a city area, you're more in a farm-like area, you'd be able to see the other stars as well around the moon. But the moon is the moon and stars are stars. The moon can never be compared to the stars, and the stars can never be compared to the moon. It's not possible at all. But saying so, Muktanand Swami stood out like the moon. His life, his persona, his divinity, his attributes, his skills, he had all the skills. There wasn't one skill that remained. He had everything and everything, yet he was humble, which is very difficult to do, but due to that, Maharaj was always happy upon Swami. Well, Muktanand Swami was one of a kind. Muktanand Swami is one of a kind and will always be one of a kind. But we have to find out how he became this. And might I put it, when he came on this earth, and this charitra that we're going to listen to, that occurred, that's not the only time, or that's not the only place in time that he became one of a kind. He became Satsang Nima. No. This is Anadi. This is all forever. He was there always, Satsang Nima, even before he came on this earth. But Bhagwan wanted us to demonstrate for us here on this earth, for us humans to comprehend that Muktanand Swami is special. And this is why I titled him Satsang Nima, or the mother of Satsang. So let's listen and dive into this charitra. And before that, we would like to take a look at the overview. First and foremost, titled Mother of Satsang, we're going to listen to that story. Nonetheless, the second phase is, there's another small charitra. Is there any food? After that, we're also going to see how Puja Guruji is our mother. And number 4, as Muktanand Swami and Puja Guruji are our mothers, as a child, what are a child's obligations? We should know. How should I be in front of Maharaj? How should I be in front of Muktanand Swami? How should I be in front of Guruji? How should I be in front of Loyadham, Santo, etc., so on and so forth? We should know such kinds of obligations as children of Maharaj, Muktanand Swami, and Puja Guruji. So let's first dive into the story titled Mother of Satsang. So, as you see on this side, left side, khichdi with ghee. And as you see on the right side, this charitra of Swami Shri serving khichdi. So it has something to do with food, let's put it that way. But how this whole prasang came about, how Maharaj titled Muktanand Swami this very title, that's something that has a story behind it, and we'd like to listen to it. So during that time when Muktanand Swami was here on earth, Maharaj had over 2,000 santos. And what he did was he divided santos in batches and had them spread satsang through Vicharan. They would travel around Gujarat and other areas and would spread Swaminarayan satsangs, how Swaminarayan bhagwan is sarvopari. And Muktanand Swami was given 60 sadhus, and he was traveling around the region. And what had happened was, at that time, very, very hard to find food. So santos for 4 days had not eaten. They would travel, but they would not find anyone that would give them any rations or give them food. So they would stay hungry, maybe drink water, and that's it. So for 4 days after traveling, they had not eaten. So there were many young santos with Muktanand Swami. It wasn't only Muktanand Swami and older santos. There was Bhayatmanand Swami, who was a very elder sant, even in the time of Sadguru Sri Ramanand Swami. He was traveling with Muktanand Swami as well. But more so, 60 to 70% of the santos were young. And they were traveling, and obviously they would become very tired and weak due to not eating for 4 days. So as they were traveling, a Brahmin spotted the santos, and a Brahmin, he was good-natured. He wasn't a devotee of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, but he had some piousness inside of his heart. So he saw that Muktanand Swami and santos are coming. So he asked them that, would you like to drink water? The Muktanand Swami says, yes, of course. And then he asked them, would you like to eat something? And Muktanand Swami thought that Maharaj has saved them from hunger. And Muktanand Swami says, yes, we will come to your house. And in that time, Maharaj had allowed Brahman devotees who knew the exact rituals of hand washing and so on and so forth, would allow them to cook food for santos, and santos could partake without any kind of fault. So in that time, it was allowed. So Muktanand Swami said, we are 60 sadhus, so go ahead and prepare. The Brahman asked, what shall we prepare? What shall I prepare, Swami? And Swami says, just khichdi. Khichdi meaning hodgepodge, as they call it in English. And khichdi is a very simple food, and a very sattvic food as well. And there the Brahman said, okay, Swami, we'll do. Please come during the evening, and I will have it prepared. So the Brahman went home, took a big pot and cooked for a khichdi for santos, thinking that it was his great fortune, of course. When it became during the evening, the Brahman invited Muktanand Swami, the santos, to his home, did the pujan of each and every sant, and sat them down. All the santos did Mansi Puja. And after doing Mansi Puja, the santos sat in a line, oldest to the youngest, in a straight line, and santos would eat in wooden bowls, so each had their personal wooden bowl. And what had happened was, at that time, Thakurji Maharaj that Muktanand Swami had, the Brahman took for serving thar, and in the thar, the Brahman put only 2 spoons of ghee. Now, why is this wrong? In that time, Bhagwan was doing a prakaran, or a chapter, where none of my santos should eat ghee or sugar. Maharaj had different chapters and different kinds of regiments. None of my santos should go into villages or cities. All my santos should beg for food. All these different chapters Maharaj arranged for santos in various times. And in that time, that chapter was going where none of my santos should eat ghee or sugar. Now the Brahman added only 2 spoons of ghee, as you can see right here, right there, that stuff right there. And you can see it's just clarified butter, but it's just to make the khichdi very rich. Now what happened was that the Brahman added 2 spoons, served it to Thakurji, and after serving it, he mixed that thali, that dish of khichdi into the big pot and mixed the khichdi around to make it prasadi. Now what happened was he started to serve the santos. As you can see, Muktanand Swami started to serve, and everyone was done with Mansi Puja. And Bhayatmanand Swami, all the santos were just ready to dig in because they hadn't eaten for 4 days. Imagine, even if we don't eat for 6 hours, we become very, very upset. These sadhus had not eaten for 4 days, and they were ready to dig in. And Bhayatmanand Swami, the older sadhu, he must have smelled just a hint of ghee in the khichdi. So he asked the Brahman that, did you put ghee in this? The Brahman said, no Swami, I did not put ghee in it. I only put 2 spoons of ghee in Thakurji Maharaj's thal. That's why you might smell it. But I know about the rules. Muktanand Swami told me not to put any ghee or anything else besides salt and turmeric. That's it, nothing else. Bhayatmanand Swami said that this still has ghee inside of it. Even if it's Thakurji Maharaj, it has ghee inside of it. He told the santos all at once, screaming, stop! All 60 sadhus were ready almost to put it in their mouth, and everyone stopped and became in shock. What happened? Swami, what happened? What happened? The khichdi has ghee inside of it. The khichdi has ghee inside of it. Don't eat it. We'll break Maharaj's agna. We'll break Maharaj's rule. And the santos became depressed. They had not eaten for 4 days, and now they don't know when they will find new food. The Brahman became saddened. He saw that the santos were hungry, but it was his bhav. Muktanand Swami observed this whole scene, and then Muktanand Swami got up. Muktanand Swami is thinking in his head. On one side, Maharaj's rule is not to eat ghee vari khichdi or ghee in general. On the other side, if I don't tell these santos to eat, then they're going to starve, and especially the young ones. And if I tell the Brahman we cannot eat it, then he'll also become disheartened and may develop an abhav of satsang. So he thought in his head, and then he decided, santos, whatever punishment bhagwan will give me, I will take and do. But all of you eat this khichdi on my command. And the santos became happy and ate the khichdi. Swami himself also ate the khichdi. But Bhayatmanand Swami was very strict in dharma, and he did not eat the khichdi. And he got up and he left for Gadpur, where Maharaj was residing. When he left for Gadpur, Muktanand Swami says, Swami, please eat just a little. You have not eaten for 4 days. He's like, I cannot dishearten Maharaj by breaking his rules. I will not eat. So he didn't eat. And he got up and went to Gadpur. When he reached Maharaj, he first and foremost complained that Muktanand Swami has broke your rule. You had established the chapter of not eating any ghee or sugar, and Muktanand Swami himself ate the ghee vari khichdi and also told 60 other santos to eat the ghee vari khichdi. He broke your rules. Maharaj listened, and then obviously Maharaj knew everything. He said, let Muktanand Swami come, I will take care of him. And then after some time, Muktanand Swami came with the 60 sadhus. And Muktanand Swami knew that Bhayatman Swami probably complained on him. So he said, I have made a mistake, Maharaj. You can punish me however you want. You can do what you need to. Maharaj said, what happened? And he listened to the whole event, the whole prasang. And then from there, Maharaj became happy on Bhayatmanand Swami and hugged Bhayatmanand Swami. But when Muktanand Swami explained this whole story, Maharaj cried because he saw that Muktanand Swami did not care for himself, but just like how a mother would care for her child more, he cared for all these sadhus that were hungry for 4 days. Nonetheless, he didn't want to dishearten the Brahman by hurting his feelings and not eating the food. So he also took care of the Brahman. And Maharaj cried there. And then when the assembly was formed during that night time with Haribhaktos and Santos, Maharaj narrated the whole prasang. And then Maharaj said at that very time that I am titling Muktanand Swami Satsang Ni Ma now from on. Because of this incident, he is the mother of Satsang. He is the one that he is the one that will take care of everyone. All the sadhus, may they be young, may they be old, because he has those kinds of attributes. And that's how our Adi Gurudev Mahamuni, Sarvopari Sant Shri Muktanand Swami was given the title Satsang Ni Ma from this very prasang itself. So we are very fortunate to have such a mother in our satsang. Nonetheless, another charitra I want to tell you is about how Muktanand Swami, the title is called Is There Any Food? And how Muktanand Swami, at that time where he was, one time they were in Gadpur, living there, and there were sadhus that were studying Sanskrit. It's a very difficult language. Many of our santos, due to Puja Guruji's Agna, study this language. And you have to make a lot of effort, even stay up nights and learn the language. So what had happened was, there at that time, santos studied all day and were very, very tired. And even during the evening, nighttime, they were studying. And santos' rule is that they can eat only after they do puja of Maharaj. Anything. And what had happened was, when it becomes 12 midnight, then you cannot eat because it's a new day. You have to do puja, and then after doing puja, do danvats to Maharaj and Santo and so on and so forth, and then you can partake in something. But the santos were so exhausted and overwhelmed of studying, and during the nighttime they also had to cram, and the santos became hungry. And what happened was they snuck into the kitchen, and there were some rotlas, some millet bread, and they took it and they started to eat, kind of in a sneaky way, let's put it that way. Not because they wanted to sneak, but because they were so hungry due to all that studying and a lot of mismanaged time. They had to eat. They were very hungry. Muktanand Swami, Maharaj must have got him up at that time, and Muktanand Swami was wondering, where are all these santos? 5, 6, 7 santos that are not here in their pataris. So he started to look around, and he saw in the kitchen that the light was on. Light meaning candle at that time. And he went there, and he saw the 6, 7 santos eating. And once Muktanand Swami opened the door, all of their jaws dropped and all of their food dropped from their hands. They became very, very scared that, oh, we're dead now, and it's Muktanand Swami. He's definitely going to tell Maharaj, we're definitely going to get in trouble. Oh, this is not going to be a good day. And what had happened was, there at that time, Muktanand Swami did not yell at them. Muktanand Swami did not scream at them. Muktanand Swami did not punish them. But Muktanand Swami himself said, I too am very hungry. Can I have some rotlo as well? Now Muktanand Swami was not hungry, but he knew that if he would have said something, or even if he would have left without saying anything, the santos would have become disturbed and left hungry. But he did not want that. He wanted the santos to eat and study, and he would take the punishment or blame on him. He wanted that to happen, so he himself asked for food, and he ate with the santos, and the santos felt at ease and also started to eat, and they finished eating, and then they went to sleep. And from this prasang, Maharaj also found out and everything, and the same thing kind of happened, and Maharaj became happy on Muktanand Swami that he took care of the younger santos. But the main thing is Muktanand Swami's vision, Muktanand Swami's saintliness, Muktanand Swami's humility, Muktanand Swami's compassion, Muktanand Swami's daya, Muktanand Swami's ability to adjust in any circumstance was, is, and always will be incredible. Because this charitra is very simple, yet no other santos has performed this kind of charitras. No one but Muktanand Swami. And that's why Maharaj had to name him Satsang Nima, or mother of Satsang, Muktanand Swami. So this is our mother, and from our mother's life we can always learn that we should also develop such kind of attributes as our mother. So this was the second prasang that I wanted to share with you regarding Muktanand Swami's life and how he performed such kind of charitras. But moving on to our mother here with us on this earth, Puja Guruji. Puja Guruji's mother-like nature is something that is well known in all of the world, and especially the Swaminarayan Sampradaya. Why is that? Because obviously Puja Guruji is in Muktanand Swami's parampara as the seventh successor, but nonetheless, all the qualities of Muktanand Swami we can see in our Puja Guruji as of now. How he takes care of sadhus, how he takes care of haribhaktos, and how he gives affection and compassion to santos and bhaktos so they can excel more and more in satsang, and how he forgets and forgives the greatest of the greatest mistakes, or even the smallest mistakes, with little ease. Our Puja Guruji is one of a kind. Such a Satpurush, an Ekantik Satpurush and Anadi Mukta. Maharaj has sent himself from Akshardham for the sake of our liberation. Our obligation is to understand him, understand what he's trying to do for us, understand his intention behind our liberation. Understand never to develop any kind of manushya bhav. Understand to always have a nirdosh buddhi and the Ekantik Satpurush. These are all things that are very, very important in the pathway to liberation. Nonetheless, Puja Guruji's life revolves around not only a mother-like nature, but his saintliness. His saintliness is something that is renowned in the Sampradaya. His humility, the way he is able to cope with the most adverse circumstances, even till this moment right now. And due to his mehnat and due to the krupa of Thakurji Maharaj, as you can see, Loyadham is striving further and further with great force, all due to our Adi Gurudev Muktanand Swami and our Puja Guruji's efforts, and nonetheless their daya and compassion. So never forget, we have received Adi Gurudev Shri Muktanand Swami as our mother in our parampara, but the one that is with us here on this earth that we can see, talk to, and we can experience, and we can also share our life with, our Puja Guruji. He is our mother. And Muktanand Swami has come in this form now for us, has given this darshan for us. And now all we have to do is, as I mentioned, serve him with mind, action and deed, speech, and nonetheless become samarpit, become totally surrendered to him and do as he says. That is the obligation of a child, and we would like to look more into that here. As you can see, this chart, as I mentioned before, this title, the title of this presentation is Satsang Nima, but a mother's obligations are different from the child's obligations. A child's obligations are something that the child must or has to do in order to receive the love of the mother. But as a child, we would like to look into 4 categories. On the left side, you can see Thakurji Maharaj, Puja Swamiji, Puja Guruji, and Loyadham. And on the right side, you can see the character, an obligation that we should have. For Thakurji Maharaj, we should develop love for him. He is the one and only for us, and Thakurji Maharaj is the one that is the Rajadiraj of Loyadham. Thakurji Maharaj, small history fact, is Bhagwan Swaminarayan himself has given Thakurji Maharaj to Muktanand Swami to serve, and Muktanand Swami served this Thakurji Maharaj and gave it to Adharan Swami. Adharan Swami served this Thakurji Maharaj and gave it to Haripriyadarshi Swami. Haripriyadarshi Swami served Thakurji Maharaj and gave it to Vaikuncharandarshi Swami. Vaikuncharandarshi Swami served Thakurji Maharaj and gave it to Narayan Swarupdasi Swami. Narayan Swarupdasi Swami served this Thakurji Maharaj and gave it to our Dada Guruji Nandakishore Dashi Swami. And as of right now, Nandakishore Dashi Swami, our Dada Guruji, gave Thakurji Maharaj to our Puja Guruji, who is serving Thakurji Maharaj now. So Bhagwan Swaminarayan has given this form to Muktanand Swami. It has been passed down. So we are very fortunate to have this divine form for us to worship, serve, meditate upon, and nonetheless to also understand how great he is. There are many prasangs, and I've shared before, of Thakurji Maharaj, how how great he is. He's drink milk live in front of 80 Haribhaktos, and so on and so forth. There's many. But for Thakurji Maharaj, we should have deep affection or love for him. For Puja Swami Shri, we should honor him. Honor is an obligation for a child to Swami Shri. We should honor him because we should be thankful that he has given us a chance to be in this Muktanandiya Parampara. Being thankful is very difficult when you can't see the prize in front of you. And understanding that the prize is in front of you, but being blinded and still appreciating, still honoring what we have received, is an attribute definitely one has to cultivate. So Puja Swami Shri's life is something that is very divine, but we can honor his life by even taking 1% of his quality and trying to imbibe it into our life. For Puja Guruji, our obligation as a child is to become humble. Do as he says. If he says at night, then night. And if he says day, then day. Do as he says exactly through the mind, the body, and the soul, without any kind of failure. This is the obligation of a child to Puja Guruji. And to Loyadham, loyalty. As a child, loyalty is something that is always needed. May it be if one is 5 years old, or may it be one who is 50 or 80 years old. But loyalty meaning Maru Laksh Loyadham, loyalty meaning I belong to Loyadham and Loyadham belongs to me. Loyalty meaning on one side you have the whole world, and on the other side you have Loyadham. Choosing Loyadham is loyalty to Loyadham. Everything else to the side. That's an obligation of a child of Loyadham should have for the whole organization itself. So as a child, all these four, Thakurji Maharaj, Puji Swami Shri, Puji Guruji, and Loyadham, all these four characters should be possessed so that we can become a complete devotee of Loyadham. So this is our presentation here today of Satsang Nima Muktanand Swami, and we found out how Muktanand Swami, how great of a sadhu he is, and how he got the title of this prasang. And all Loyadham Parivar members should know this story. May they be young, may they be old, may they speak Gujarati or may they speak English. But this charitra should be known by everyone, that how, if someone asked that how did Muktanand Swami, why is he called Satsang Nima, then we should know this Khichdi Prasang, and due to that we can tell someone and we can share with someone, and through that we can engage more in spreading Loyadham Parivar through each and every person's life, and nonetheless spread Sarupari Upasana of Thakurji Maharaj, our Muktanandiya Parampara. So as a child, our obligations are on the table. Our job is to execute, our job is to perform, and our job is to exactly do as what Puja Guruji says. So let us pray to Maharaj, our mother Shri Muktanand Swami, our Muktanandiya Parampara Sadguru Santo, our Puja Guruji, and this Loyadham Parivar Santo and Bhakto, that I also develop such kind of devotees or such kind of qualities as Muktanand Swami had, so that I could also please Thakurji Maharaj and everyone else. Saying this, my humble Jai Swaminarayan.